Good morning, traders. So I'm going to go over my big trade of yesterday. So I was watching Broadcom out of the gate pre-market yesterday. We were catching a bid into resistance right out of the gate. So the opening seconds, I actually went short Broadcom right into resistance. If you go down here on the smaller time frame, 1 second here, I'll show you some things that I was looking at this morning or yesterday. And I get a little bit more time here. 90 days. Okay, guys. Any of you guys that what's happened with Broadcom here is that was support, that was support. Okay, became broke, became resistance. Okay, tried it broke out, then we came down, became new support that failed immediately, and we came up yesterday into that. Okay, and failed right off that major turning point on Broadcom, and it just obliterated it. This is one of the many stocks in Techland and the AI bubble that have exhaustion gaps below them that need repaired. It's a very good chance we're going to completely repair this exhaustion gap before earnings. So just be very mindful of this scenario, what I've got going on here. This was my big win. I got out way too early. So basically, I got in up here. It came down to here. This was the prior back test. I did not anticipate a tape bomb yesterday. I mean, it made sense that we could have a tape bomb, but basically, we're having the Canada tariffs starting tomorrow. Uh, but I just took my profits. It was a little over 10 minutes. Made about 150% on that trade in 10 minutes. Okay, guys. So come on. If you can make 150% on the trade in 10 minutes, why would you stick around? So I made over 2 grand on that trade. I mean, I didn't load the boat, 1,000 contracts or anything like that. But that was a beautiful, beautiful setup, and there were a bunch of them out there. Let me show you another one. Another one that I was stalking yesterday morning was Apple. Here you go. Another thing, guys. So Apple, see this gold uh, level right here? Okay, so that became support, support, broke down, support got lost. That became resistance, completely failed to resistance all in one day. So that was a major resistance, seeing that massive rejection above that level. We tried to push back above it. As the markets were coming down, they were going to the safety of Apple. Okay. And look what happened here yesterday. And if I go here let me zoom in here real quick on the smaller time frame here. How's that sound? So Apple, here we are. We came up into here. Excuse me. Let me zoom in. So this was yesterday's trading action here. If you got up into the highs of that resistance, you know, and this was really one of the tells. You see how we were having a lot more relative weakness there on Apple. Okay. So basically on the 30-minute here, so you saw right there at 130, that was really starting to give us the tell. 130 close that you would really want to start looking for a short in Apple. It completely gave up the next support and completely obliterated with the rest of the market. This is, in my opinion, a major potential high here for Apple and going forward here. Okay. On the bigger time frames, though, remember, guys, on Apple, the structure is pretty much has been back and filled. So you don't really have those exhaustion highs. So I personally would prefer sticking with the exhaustion high theory than trying to fade something like this. Okay. So just be very mindful of that going forward. Another one I was looking at here, we came right into the weekly 200-day moving average, rejected hard on snow, the weekly 200, right into what was potentially, uh, see on the weekly time frame, a potential. You could actually put a little rectangle right here on the weekly time frame, and you could see this right here. This right here was a rejection area right below that weekly 200, okay, on the bigger time frames. You go down to the 1 hour, Here you guys go, right at the top of that rectangle. Look at how that rejected, and we came down. So snow looking pretty good here. Go on the daily. Is there an exhaustion gap here? We have a massive exhaustion gap that needs to be repaired. This one here, you only want to be swing short on snow. If you're looking for the bigger time frames. So if you're going out for a month or two, you want to definitely be looking for the exhaustion gap fill. Okay, so be very mindful of that. Okay, a quick look at our VX futures real quick here, guys. So despite how bad things got yesterday, we came down. It was horrible. We broke primary uptrends and stuff like that. I do want to point out we are still in contango on the VX futures. So that suggests, the short-term fear is not outweighing the long-term uh, positioning. So by just looking at the VX futures, this still has the ingredients of being a corrective wave in the market and not necessarily a flip to the full-on panic bearish scenario in the markets. But there is reason to think that we're going to start March 1st and the panic will start setting in. But the VX futures, as of right here, right now, are not telling us that this is a full-on panic scenario. Okay. Another thing I wanted to point out here, skew came down even further. So we're back down to the 150 here on skew. So they took even more hedging off yesterday as prices came down. So big institutions at these lows as of yesterday were taking off protection. So be very mindful of that. That they're taking more and more protection off as we come lower here, still giving us an indication of uh, a potential bounce in this market. So be very mindful. Everybody wants to get full on bearish here. You got to be mindful of what's happening, just what smart money's doing under the hood. So as you can see, guys, up till about 2:30 when the tape bomb hit about the tariffs on Canada, we were pretty well, mostly bullish on our cumulative volume in the markets. They were sitting there still trying to, they were trying to support the markets. They weren't getting any big headways, but they were trying on cumulative volume. But after the tape bomb, it was just all over with. I mean, there was just no bidders in the market from 2:30 on after that news hit. Okay. And, you know, uh, the cumulative ticks actually, so you look at, you know, cumulative ticks weren't doing too well into that news. But once that happened, man, that was it. It was over with. So we about tripled the cumulative tick decline after that news came out. So be very mindful of that. It was just, and we were still the index scores were really stayed pretty well negative, pretty negative all day long. So you wanted to stay short of the markets. Anything above 10 on our index scores, you want to stay net short the markets, and pretty much all day long we stayed around 10 or lower on our index scores on the markets. There was no reason to buy. Basically, what we saw right here was institutions actually adding shorts in all likelihood. They were trying accumulate shorts, and so be very mindful what was going on there. So, but good. Congratulations to everybody yesterday afternoon who really banked on this move down. So it's very, that was really good. Okay, guys. So we came down into our major support, breakout support. So basically, this is just a sideways channel, until we actually break. So technically, nothing has really changed on the bigger time frames, other than the fact that we have had a corrective wave in the markets. Losing this level right here, then it's all. I mean, then we're in trouble. Okay, but no matter how bearish you want to get the markets, you know, on the bigger time frames, this is not a broken market. I mean, there should be dip buyers even at this point until proven otherwise. And like I said, the VIX, the skew suggests that that could very well be the case. So be very mindful of this. Our current monthly put wall, that's for March expiration, is at 6,000. So we're deeply in the money on those puts, suggesting at this point in time, if you got a bunch of puts, for March, why wouldn't you be taking some of these off the table? You guys also keep it in context here. See this monthly low right here? We've been sideways trading in SPX. This is the last trading day of the month. We have not broken the past 2 months lows. So in the bigger scheme, on the monthly time frame, we still have not even broken a month-on-month prior low here. So we have to definitely keep that on the back of our minds going forward here on SPX. And sometimes it's better to go out on the bigger time frames to see exactly where we are in the markets. Okay, and these are our quarterly charts here, guys. And so we know this quarter closed at 588163. Okay, so we're 20 points below the prior quarterly close here on the SPX. Let me go ahead and put a trend line right there, and we'll go back into smaller time frames. What was that? 5881. Okay, let me go ahead and make sure I got that exactly where it's at. 5881. Okay. 5881. We'll come back down on the 1 hour now. Where are we in relation to that? So we're currently trading. What we did is a break of the quarterly time frames. So there's a very good chance that we will come up and see if that becomes new resistance in today's trading. So be very mindful of that. 5881 to see if they accept prices above 5881 going forward here. Okay, guys. So as we know, the ES futures are, so it's about 20 points higher. ES futures, see here, where was the close? We closed at 5877, 20 points higher to be 5879 or 5899. I'm sorry, 97. Here you go. Right here, right now, we're into that quarterly uh, now resistance. So we're right currently into that quarterly resistance area right here, right now, trying to decide whether to already. Here it is, 6:45 in the morning, already trying to defend that level. Okay, so let's be very mindful of that. That this may become new resistance, or this could become new support in today's session. So I definitely want to keep this in mind going forward here. Okay. Okay, bigger time frames. NDX. We do have reason to think this is much more bearish on the NDX than we are on the Qs. So, or on the S&Ps. Okay, we have broken this. This was giving us a topping signal. Okay, we are below that topping signal on the monthly time frame, and we actually close. We're closing 1 day to go here. We're right here at this prior monthly low. So this has to become new support. Okay, and let me see what the ticker at the low of the session. 2538. 2538. Edit. 2538. Okay. We'll check that out here in a minute. Then on our quarterly charts, this is important to note as well. So we have firmly broken back inside of this candle. So now this candle here, this was our prior quarterly high. So this is actually giving us the 6-month high area. Oops, I didn't want a trend line. 1 second here. We want this to become new support. If you're a bull, we want that to become new support. What was the high? 20, I don't know, 2691. 2691. We want that to become new support. So now we go down our smaller time frames. What do we got going on here? Okay, guys. So we came right down to monthly close here. Okay. Uh, so we're looking 150 points higher. Puts us, we want that to become, as a bull, we want to break above that. That could become new resistance. 150 points higher could become new resistance here in the markets. Go over to our NQ futures, 150 points higher from the yesterday's close. We closed on the NQs here at 608, so I'm looking at 758. So this is our month-on-month resistance, or our quarter-on-quarter resistance, 758. So this here is likely to become resistance today. Uh, we got to test that and see if they're going to find any buyers above that. Okay, guys. So uh, just be very mindful of that. And then, like I said, we are into a monthly low. So you know, we our support is right near. Let's see here. Let's go back to NDX. So we're right. We closed right into that monthly support. Okay. After hours, we actually looked below it and couldn't find uh, new sellers below that. So we couldn't find new sellers below that level. That's monthly support right there. Okay, guys. So that's what's going on here. Be very mindful here. Personally, I would think, given where we're at, okay, on these indices and stuff, that you would see active uh, put selling happening below these levels in today's session. Quite active put selling happening into that means option premium traders. This might be a fairly secure, uh, barring some sort of another tape bomb that we might actually start seeing a lot of put sellers down here, knowing that we're in a deeply negative gamma situation. Okay, in the markets, and if you go over here on my 24, our monthly put wall coming into for March was at 21,300. Okay, and here we are. We're deeply, deeply in a negative gamma situation. At some point, traders tend to want to take profits, so we have to be very mindful of that scenario here. And they put those hedges on, and trimming, taking those hedges off, Wall Street gets paid. So, in my opinion, my theory is, it makes more sense that Wall Street wants to get paid today than to try to push prices lower at this price point. But anything can happen. We'll see how things play out. Early on in the session, Nvidia is catching a little relief bounce here. Palantir's lower. Nothing really jumping out here. Could very well be a consolidation at these monthly support levels. Could very well be a sideways consolidation down here, setting up for a. Remember, even on the quarterly charts, we have another month in the quarter, so you know we have to be very mindful on that. Even looking at those quarterly charts. In my opinion, having a relief rally here, people taking profits off the table makes considerable sense. Okay, so in my opinion, you put these when you put puts on, they generally are more short dated trades, okay, than trying to put long dated calls on, historically. So, coming in, trimming profits off the puts early on in the session today makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so okay, that's pretty much all I got to say here. Uh, you know, Honestly, I think today, for the most part, is a premium selling day as volatility is jacked. So I would be looking for, not necessarily big moves in the market ranges, as more as Wall Street coming on, selling a lot of premium, trying to attempt to sell a lot of premium at these prices and pin prices. I mean, I just, in my gut feeling, that's what they're going to do today. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. Thanks a lot. Please like my video if you get a chance, and retweet me if you get a chance to. And comments below. I do appreciate any positive or negative comments. So good luck, guys. And like I said, we've already come so far. I don't really have any trades that I'm actually looking at this point in time for today's session.